Julio Jones versus Xavier Rhodes. Oh yeah, there will also be 10 other guys on the field as well. Hey guys, what's up? JLT back here again with another Vikings video. Now let's here to preview the Vikings and Falcons game coming up Sunday at noon. So let's talk about it, starting with the worst part of the game, injuries. And luckily, it's not looking too bad, especially for the Vikings. Only 3 people appeared on the list, and surprisingly for me, one of them is not Xavier Rhodes. His calf injury was a big talk after how bad he fared against the Lions, but he's not even appearing on the injury list, so I think he's 100% ready to go. And so, yeah, we're expecting him to play Sunday for sure. Who's on the list? Eric Kendricks with a hip injury did not participate on Wednesday, and he's such a tough cat. I think he'll play. Mike Remmers, tackle or back, limited participation. He'll probably play as well. And Anderson Dale's listed on here, but he had full participation. So I believe all 3 will play, so it shouldn't be a big worry. We are pretty much 100%, right? Now, well, except for Dalvin Cook and Sam Bradford. But let's look at the Falcons, who have a lot more players on the list, but still I would expect, if not all, most of these players to play as well. The first player on this list could actually be the biggest, not in a usually talked about position group, but Matt Bryant, their stud kicker, did not participate on Wednesday with a back injury. Maybe something just flared up there. I doubt it's that big of a deal, but if he's held out, that'd be a really big thing. They'd have to have their punter do kickoffs. If they trust their punter kicking field goals, they'd have to do that, but they'd probably go for 2 a lot, and it'd be a very interesting scenario. But I would expect him to play, and probably just precautionary. It's a kicker, he doesn't really need a whole lot of practice, I would think. One of their corners, Brian Poole, did not participate with another back injury. Desmond Trufant, he's battling through a concussion, did not participate on Wednesday. So out of those, I would think the top 2 would play. Desmond Trufant, concussions are always really iffy, so it might be more of a game time decision. Terran Ward, running back, he has a shoulder and a knee injury, limited participation. Ty Sambraglio, Andy Lavrier, Julio Jones, and Justin Hardy are also at limited participation. And Devontae Freeman has a concussion, but he had full participation on Wednesday, so I expect him to play. Julio Jones, big name on the list. I feel like he's one of those guys, those big body receivers that always find their way on the injury report. It's not a big deal. He's so physical that he's going to get himself dinged up every now and again too, but he's a really tough receiver, and we're going to get this Julio Jones versus Xavier Rhodes show. Don't worry, it'll be a fun one. So there we have it. Not too bad. Pretty much 100% as far as excluding any IR people. We have it should be a really good matchup overall. So now let's look at the Falcons, and let's look at their team stats. And my goodness, looking at their team, an extremely balanced team is the best way to describe the Falcons. Offensively, they're the 11th ranked offense with 24 points a game, 373.4 yards a game is 6th, 256.5 pass yards a game is 9th, and 116.8 rush yards a game is 11th. So they're right around top 10 in every single one of these categories offensively. And that's not just an offensive trait, it's about the same on defense. So their offensive players complement each other very well, and I think that's a very big parallel between both teams. A very young core group, a few studs. We don't really have a Julio Jones in Minnesota. We were a little bit more diverse when it comes to that, but a very diverse group overall, and especially defensively, very similar defensive players. But let's look at the receivers and start off with the guy that's throwing them the ball is Matt Ryan. 361 attempts, he completed 244 of those for 284 yards, 67.6 completion percentage, 16 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. He's been sacked 16 times on the year, so he's not as godly as Keenum in its elusiveness. So the biggest key for the Falcons, watching the game film that the Vikings bring out on their it's either show it on the Vikings site or on YouTube. They do their film breakdown, and they really showed a lot of max protections for the Falcons, and that just means letting 2 running backs or a tight end and a running back stay in to get that 7-man protection. So you have limited routes, but they'll usually be going deep. And if you can cover those 2, you can pretty much get a coverage sack, force the quarterback to scramble or throw the ball away. And that's going to be tough to do. So that the max coverage could very well neutralize some of Vikings blitz packages, so it's going to really come down to the timing of those blitzes and get them when they're trying to play action pass where they'll have more receivers on a route tree instead of playing it into block. But Matt Ryan, coming off an MVP season, absolutely dominating the first half of the Super Bowl just to get them a lead. So then we can get memes everywhere. So I guess that's the real reason that we will beat them, is because we'll give them a nice big 28-point lead at halftime and then get the comeback. Just kidding, but it'll be fun to see. Receiving, the receivers led by debatably the best wide receiver in the NFL. Usually 1 and 2 with Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, who is an absolute beast. 66 receptions, 1,039 yards. 53s is long. He's only had 3 touchdowns though. They don't target him a whole lot in the end zone, and he had caught 2 touchdowns last week when he went off for over 250 yards. So the guy that we shouldn't have to worry too much in the red zone. It might be due to defenses trying to neutralize him, but yeah, he really hasn't been a factor much at all in their end zone. Mohamed Sanu, their number 2 guy, one of my favorite non-Vikings players in the league, has 45 receptions for 452 yards. His long's only 25, and he's caught 4 touchdowns on the year. He really loves him on those little intermediate routes, and a very great complementary wide receiver. Their tight end's their 3rd wide receiver with 36 receptions for 417 yards. His long was 88, so that's a big chunk to it. I remember watching that game when he got that. But again, only 3 touchdowns on the year, so they spread their touchdowns out a lot. They don't have one guy getting a lot of them. Mohamed Sanu is the biggest red zone threat as far as receiving, but Julio Jones really should be that guy. I don't care that he only has 3 touchdowns. He could get another 3 touchdowns at any given game, so you can never count Julio Jones out. Man's a beast. So now there we have their offensive breakdown. Let's look at their running backs, who the Vikings, I think, have a very good split back system. The Saints got one out of nowhere. But the number 1 split back system in the league goes to the Falcons, and it's not even close. Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman are such a good complementary duo that it's so bad. It's so hard to get both of them down. They're both number 1 caliber running backs, and they don't get as many attempts because they have the other guy on their team. So they both come on the field. They're fresh, and it really shows. So starting with Coleman, who is technically their leading back, with 122 attempts for 539 yards, a 4.4 average, long 52, 5 touchdowns. These two have very similar numbers. Freeman, 116 carries, so 6 carries less for 515 yards, a 4.4 average, so the exact same as Coleman, and also 5 touchdowns. How does that work out? They have the same stats almost across the board. This is the balance I'm talking about. Except for wide receiver, where Julio Jones steals the show, this team is completely balanced all the way throughout. So let's look at their defense, who it's crazy. They have one stat that stands out. Otherwise, again, right around the top 10 and everything. Points per game. Their overall defense rank is 13th at 20.9 yards a game. They give up 321.8 yards a game, which is 10th. It's 207.9 pass yards a game, which is 8th. But where they struggle is their rush defense. They average 113.9 rush yards a game against them, which is 20th. So right off the bat, a big key to win this game: don't let Julio Jones have a lot of time on their offense. Steal the clock, time of possession, always a big key. Feed the ball. Jerick McKinnon, Latavius Murray, keep it going. If we rush for over 100 yards, we should win this one. The defensive stars to take a look at, and talk about their defense overall. Very good depth throughout. I always try to look at Madden, see if they have, according to Madden's, a few weak spots, but it really wasn't. It was in 80s or 90s across the board, and just very solid players. The linebackers, all 3 of them, are Eric Kendrick, Anthony Barr type linebackers, very athletic. They can be very dangerous in our screen game if we do those screens or short passes. They could be everywhere breaking those plays up, and they have weapons everywhere on their defense as well. And that's what a lot of people were saying, that they should win the Super Bowl last year, but we know what happened, 28-3. The leading tackler on the year is Keanu Neal with 60 total tackles. Deion Jones, they're very good linebackers, 88 combined tackles. He's technically leading them in tackles. They have sack masters across the board. Adrian Claiborne has 8 sacks for him. Not as good as Everson Griffin, but who can say that? Brooks Reed has 4, and Devontae Campbell has a couple. So it's very spread out. They don't get to the quarterback a whole lot. They only have 16 total team sacks, and I think Everson Griffin's getting close to that by himself. I think he's already at 12. So we should have a decent amount of time in the pocket as long as we can block that up. Our offensive line has been doing great. Keenum, his game's been going up ever since Teddy got healthy. He's been playing at the best. He already was playing the best football of his career, right? Teddy gets healthy, and he elevates himself to make sure he's better than Teddy. Because the way he was playing before, you could say Teddy's about here, but then Keenum took the next step, and all of a sudden Keenum is above Teddy, and if he's going to keep that up, this is going to be a way to do it. And this is going to be a really big game for us. A team that was trying to get back in the Super Bowl, the Falcons, a little bit up and down. They're 7-4, but they are 3rd in the NFC South. They're in one of the toughest divisions in football. But if we can beat them, I think we should definitely make some noise in the playoffs, and I think we will. So, final score predictions, tell me yours in the comments. Mine, Minnesota 28, Atlanta 25. It'll be a close game. It should come down to the wire. A tough field goal, maybe a game winner. Kai Forbath come through. But it should be a close game. It's in Atlanta. That's why I had it closer. Of course, I think it'd be like a 14-point game if it was in Minnesota. But at Atlanta, kind of prove that we can win on the road, and it all starts Sunday. So back-to-back road games. First one's Atlanta, next one's in Carolina. So there we have it. Vikings staying warm. We're staying cold, but we get to root on our favorite team. So we'll see you guys in the next JOZ Vikings video.